everyone, and welcome back to Neurodiverse and Obsessed. I'm your host, John Arroyo. And boy, was NXT on fire this week. We had a brawl that lasted the whole show. Yes, we had a brawl that lasted the whole show. Stacks and Etta Moore literally beat the hell out of each other. We got the tag team division is stacked. Chase U did an actually good performance for once. I know, Chase U actually did something useful for once this week on NXT, and Dark State is trying to take over the whole division. And we got a massive showdown with the TNA and NXT locker room that got me so hyped for Insurgence and Heatwave. So let's get right into it. We start off the show with the only glamorous Blake Monroe. She comes out. I love her new gear. Her gear game is really good, but lately her new gear with the bows, very like fashion. I love it. Like Blake Monroe could always look good. Kehlani Jordan comes in and it's a fight right away. Kehlani uses her gym athletics and gymnastics background, flipping and almost taking down Blake in a couple of quick pins, but Blake gets back up. Blake throws her on the outside. And Mariah, sorry, I almost said the name that I shouldn't say. Blake Monroe comes out of nowhere with a beautiful slide-in drop kick. And I loved how the whole time she was smacking the mat because it was sponsored by Maybelline. Monroe was giving it. Anytime the camera was on her, she was smiling. She was doing her poses. Every time she beat down Kehlani, this is the Blake that I know. This is the Monroe I wanted. I want to heel Monroe. I want her going into the camera. She was playing that heel thing so good. But Kehlani out of nowhere hits a drop split cutter that was deadly, that got the crowd shook. And I keep saying it. Kehlani is a star, and I'm waiting for her to get moved up. Kehlani needs to move up. Like, I love how she's the first ever North American woman champion. I'm going to say it. Not a lot of people talk about Kehlani Jordan. She's one of my favorites. Like, that move alone and her athleticism should put her on the main roster soon. But the match get interrupted by the one and only Jordan Grace. We hear the sirens. Blake looks scared as hell. Jordan runs in with the neck brace because she's still injured, chasing Blake, but Blake leaves, gets in a getaway car, and drives off. So Kehlani wins by a no countout, but Kehlani looks mad about it. We're going to find out what is going to happen with Kehlani at the end of the show, but we see that she's going to team up with someone next week. Really interesting. But later in the show, Ava tells Jordan, you know what? Blake does maybe need a lesson because she is trying to take over the division. And Ava kind of admits that Blake is being a little too much and Jordan needs to actually do something about it. So at Heatwave, it's going to be Jordan Grace versus Blake Monroe. I am so happy. It's the first match announced. Hopefully, it's like near the main event. I don't think that's going to be the main event at Heatwave, but it should be like a pretty decent match. And then we get the tag team titles. And I thought it was going to be a squash match because, Chase U lately, Dia's not there. Duke Huxton got released. And then Riley Osborne got released. So it's kind of like, it's only Andre Trace. He has some new students. And then I was like, it wasn't clicking. But now I kind of see the Chase U, like the new Chase U. Dixon and Connors is a really good tag team. Like, they start off like super kicking Hank and Tank like nothing. They do an assisted flip powerbomb that was kind of devastating, that almost took out Tank, but Tank gets out just in time to save the count. And then good back and forth. Like, both teams really good back. They are comedic, but they can wrestle. Really good back and forth. Hank and Tank ends with their Hank and Tank squash. I guess that's the finisher. Like, they don't really name the finisher, but I'm calling it the crusher, the way that both men slam into each other. And then, they're about to say thank you. They're about to do the respect, shake hands. But Sugar and Leon and the group, Burke State shows up and cleans house. And then I love it. We get a vignette later with Lennox, Sugar, and the boys saying that they're done. They're done playing nice. People been complaining. I've been one of the people complaining too that they haven't do nothing, and Sugar and them are mad. So they're like, you know what? It's time for us to take over. And finally, Dirk State does something. And I'm happy because those guys are really good. And we're going to see them again later in the show, but they're marking their territory. And I'm saying it, I'm a Dirk State fan. So I want to see what they can do next. And then we got a really good segment, and I kind of love it. because we have JC Jane walking backstage with her girls, Nyx and Fallon. And Fallon keeps bringing up to JC, the girls are lining up in the locker room, what you're gonna do. Jada wants you, Lash wants you, and on TNA, Masha wants you. And JC's like literally telling Fallon, can you shut up? Like, it's my night off. Like, I'm gonna fight Thursday. Like, can you stop? And then the one and only Ash by Elegance manager shows up, telling JC, get the title ready, polish it up, because Ash is going to win the title back on TNA for the Knockouts Championship. And JC says, get away from me before I call security. The guy leaves. And then Rayleigh Reese, she's stirring the pot. I kind of liked it there. We had one of the girls watching from the back kind of stir the pot, saying like, Fallon, JC, you should get Jasmine to clean off the titles because isn't she the title cleaner? Like, isn't she the polisher? And Fallon and JC are making fun of Nyx because she's a newer star and they're more veterans. And we're gonna see it, but Jasmine is not happy about it, and Nyx gets payback later. And what she calls Fallon kind of is salty, but in the best ways. Fatal Influence is starting to be a really good faction. I love how they hate each other, but they have to work together, like that whole Mean Girls Regina George. And we're seeing it. We're seeing the Mean Girl mentality, and I love it. And I want to see more of it. And then we get Miles Bourne versus Lexis King in an absolute banger. I'm saying that Miles Bourne is a star. He has the ring gear. He just has this thing when he wrestles, like you can't keep your eyes off of him. Good back and forth with Lexis and him. Lexis hits a devastating stomp on Miles' head on the steel post that almost takes Miles out of the match, but he continues fighting like the fighter he is. Back and forth. Miles hits a neck breaker knee to King as payback, and then he ends with the zigzag for the win. I like it. I could see both men going for the title soon, like the mid-card or the main title. But I'm kind of happy in this match that Lexis King did the whole goofy, like, oh, I'm going to pretend to be blind. I'm going to pretend to be deaf to kind of like mock Miles because Miles is someone with a disability. Like, I actually like Lexis King just beating him up and being a heel. We didn't need the last couple weeks of him being kind of goofy. I don't like when Lexis King is a goofy heel. He's a good wrestler, and I think Lexis King is just better when he's just a heel. He don't need that goofiness. And if they do the storyline continues, they need to drop the Lexis King being goofy because for me, it just doesn't seem genuine. Like Lexis King just being goofy like that, like messing with Miles and like telling people Miles is not deaf. Like it doesn't seem like something Lexis King would do. Like if you see him wrestle or you see like the way he presents himself, he doesn't seem like a goofy heel. And that's why I didn't like the storyline. Because why is Lexis pretending to be a goofy heel if Lexis is an actual fighter and he could be a serious heel? But really good storyline, and I can't wait to see what happens with the both of them. Then we get my girl. You guys know I love Nia Jax. She's in my top 10 favorite women wrestlers of all time. I don't care what you guys say. Nia Jax is one of the best women. She is such a good actor. She could be heel, babyface, but she knows how to play the crowd, and she does it in this match. Against Thea Hale. Thea Hale says some stuff on her Instagram. Because you know how Thea Hale on her Insta, she goes on her little coffee run, so she talks about why is Nia NXT and stuff. So Nia overhears it on Insta, so we get the match. And I love how they're actually using Instagram and TikTok and social. So it gets people engaged. Like if you follow the wrestler, you could follow the storyline as well. Like Thea Hale made a storyline from Instagram talking about Nia and they get the match. Like that's really good. And I feel like that's how you get more people engaged on social as well with the wrestling community. Really, I'm going to give out props for that. Using social media to build this matchup was actually really good. But the match, Nia Jax demolishes Hale. Leg drops, Samoan drops. She's picking up Hale because Hale's kind of smaller than her, dragging her around like a rag doll, screaming in her face, getting in the camera's face. You know Nia, a perfect heel. She's playing that heel part so good. But Thea Hale fights back, put in a sleeper hold, put in some submissions that looked like pretty devastated. But the biggest part was Thea Hale hits a DDT on Nia, and Nia sells it. The way that Nia flips over, we think it's out. No, Nia kicks out, and Nia hits the Annihilator, crushing Thea Hale. After she gets interviewed, and Nia says she don't care if you're a woman from the main roster, NXT or TNA. She does name drop TNA, so maybe we'll see Nia on TNA because she kind of hinted at it too, and I love that. And Lash says, "You think you're the most dominant woman? You took me out last week because you're jealous of my shine." So Lash gets in, and then they fight. Security breaks it up, but we're gonna see them multiple times because those two just go at it, and it's just killer. And I can't wait for them to have the big blowout match soon. Just those two together, perfect. Then we get the NXT and TNA locker room showdown. So Obafemi comes out talking about how he's the future and nobody else is the future because he's been beaten the future. And he's not wrong. Like, he took out all the men's division and he says he wants more competition. And I agree with the man. Like, can we get like someone that can actually take on Oba? Like, they book these wrestlers, but like Oba just overpowers them and he outshines most of them. But I'm happy because now we're getting people coming after Oba, and maybe we're gonna get, I'm predicting maybe a fatal four-way down the line. And with these four men, that would be great. So then Trick Williams comes out and he says he's the best man of the future. And Oba's like, okay, but I'm the better man. Trick says, well, he wants both gold. So yes, Trick wants to carry both divisions, but Javon comes out saying, hell no. Javon says to Trick, I told you last week, you're not the top star. Stop thinking you're the top star. It's Javon's time. And Oba tried to interfere, but Javon says, shut up to Oba. Oba gets mad. Trick tells Javon, calm down, little boy. Javon doesn't like it, so everyone starts arguing in the ring. And then out of nowhere, Moose, I was so happy, Moose shows up. He tells Trick TNA Insurgents, he's coming out to the title, and he literally turns around, looks at Oba, and he's like, I'm not forgetting you, Oba. I lost to you, but I want to come out to your title too. I love it. Moose wants both titles. And then out of nowhere, Dark State attacks, making their claim again. And I loved it. Dark State getting in. And then they fight off Dark State. And then later in the show, Ava announces that, you know what? Next week, Dark State will face Trick, Oba, Javon, and Moose in a match. And then 2 weeks in Philadelphia, before Heatwave, Javon and Trick will fight, and whoever wins will face Obafemi at Heatwave. Like, literally, we get 2 matches announced for the next 2 weeks at NXT that seem killer. And I'm really waiting to see who's going to take on Oba. And also, what is Dark State going to do next week against these top stars? Really good. I'm really happy that all these men are like, we're actually getting a men's division that is good. Because the last 2 months, I was kind of worried about the men's NXT division because there was not a lot of breakout stars. Now we're seeing a lot of men get pushed more, and I'm happy about it. And then we get Stax versus Yoshi and Amora. But before the match, Stax is getting ready. Ariana Grace comes up to him from last week. They kind of had that flirtatious tension. He says, oh, I'm okay. Because she says, are you still okay? Because Yoshi kind of beat you up last week. He says he's fine. They're like flirting. Stax is trying to riz Ariana up, but he gets blocked because Lash and Nia fights. So everyone needs to leave the space when security breaks them up. Yo, my boy Stax is trying to riz up Ariana, and Nia and Lash ruined the moment, but it's okay. I think he rizzed her up enough because she shows up later in his match. The match was a banger. Stax starts out by jumping Yoshi, using his brawling style on the outside, but Yoshi fights back with sumo wrestling and Yoshi wrestling. I loved the match. We had like brawler technician versus Yoshi style sumo wrestling. Really innovative from both men. Like, it was a really good pairing, great back and forths. But on the outside, Ariana Grace checks up on Stax. She says to leave him alone. Yoshi's like, what are you doing out here? She slaps Yoshi in the face. The referee tries to calm down Ariana, and then he sees Stax, and he's like telling Stax, is he still able to compete? With all that distraction, Josh Brooks come out of nowhere, hitting a big boot on Yoshi, and then he leaves, and then Stax picks up the win. And it's kind of crazy that Stax picks up the win due to 2 distractions, Ariana and Josh. I'm really interested to see where the Stax, Lorenzo, and Ariana Grace storyline goes, because they seem like they could be a good like power couple duo. And also Josh Briggs, I want to see that match against Josh and Yoshi because that storyline is really good. Friends turn to enemies, and we saw it at NXT a couple weeks ago. Those 2 can go at it, so I want to see more of that monster men style fighting. Guys, then we get the funniest segment of the night. So Charlie Dempsey is mad because he's like, I don't have Miles. I don't have Travion Heights. It's just you and me, Ren. And Ren is like, it's okay, Charlie. We could be the 2-person catch crew because it's not a quarter. We're like half a quarter of a catch crew. And Charlie looks up Ren like, can you stop? And Ren's like, I know what can cheer you up. I'm going to sing a song. And she sings the song with the guy you shouldn't say the name of. And she says, say his name and he appears.
Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. I believe
he appears. And then Joe Hendry appears from the refrigerator. Like, I love when Joe Hendry just pops out of random places. The boy came out of the refrigerator and Charlie's looking at him and Joe's like, come on, Charlie, cheer up. You know what can help you? A little bit of Joe Hendry magic. So he gives Charlie a Joe Hendry cosplay and he's like, come on, you should join. Come on, wear it and we could do a little song and dance together. And Charlie's like, no, I don't do the memes. I don't do the TikTok. And Charlie's pretty much like, I don't do the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. Like, I talk to the camera style stuff. Charlie Dempsey's like, I don't do the Dora Explorer. I look at the camera and talk. And Joe Hendry seems a little like mad that like he's like Charlie's saying that Joe Hendry is a TikTok meme and a meme. So Joe Hendry says, what about next week we have a match? Charlie doesn't like the idea, but Ren likes it. And Charlie's like, okay, whatever, I guess. And then he leaves. And then Ren is like, oh my God, can I take a selfie? And Joe just takes a selfie with Ren. Like, the storyline is really campy, really funny. I can't wait to see where Joe Hendry goes. Like, this is really interesting because we saw Joe Hendry do vignettes a couple of days ago, like a couple weeks ago on NXT. Like, he'd been popping up. So I guess now, like, what did this mean? Is Joe Hendry going to be like in the storyline with Charlie Dempsey? I'm really interested. Like, this is a really interesting storyline. And then we get Ethan Page coming out. And pretty much, I think we're going to get a faction. Hopefully we get a faction out of this. But this was such a good, like, I loved it so much. Ethan Page come out. He says he beat Santino Marvello. Santino Marvello is not the best Canadian. He is, and America's trash. And he could take anyone on any country. So Travion Heights comes out and he's like, well, I'm an Olympic wrestler. Don't you disrespect America? You know, the whole America versus Canada thing. And then the one and only Chelsea Green. Yes, Miss Green comes out with her Secret Service. And she tells Travion, do not talk about my Canadian brother that way. America sucks. And then she gets in Heights' face. And she's like, what you gonna do? You can't hit a woman. He's like, I'm not gonna hit you. So he hits Ethan and he says, you know what? I'm gonna find someone to beat you up, Chelsea. So pretty much, I think next week or soon, we're gonna get a mixed tag team match of Heights, a mystery opponent, and Chelsea Green and Ethan Page. But guys, imagine Ethan Page and Chelsea Green in a Secret Service in a faction. The whole political thing, Chelsea as like the campaign manager, Ethan Page as like the so-called like president or the so-called like main guy, and then the Secret Service as like the bodyguards. I just imagine the vignettes they will have, the whole like political campaigns. Please make it a faction. I never thought, but like that's such a good idea. Chelsea Green, Ethan Page in the Secret Service, the whole like political faction, like the whole presidency thing. It's so good. It's so camp. And I can't wait to see how that all like plays out. And then we get some matches announced and teased before the main event. That was really good, booking up NXT for the next 2 weeks before Heatwave. So what I said earlier, Kehlani Jordan is frustrated that she lost by countout to Blake. She wanted to beat Blake. Lola says it's fine. You will get her next time. JC and Fallon are making fun of them. Jasmine Nix comes back from polishing the titles. And Jasmine Nix is shady because she says, well, stopping by Ava's office, I said, JC, Fallon, you said it's no one to go against. So next week you have a tag team match against Lola Vice and Kehlani Jordan. And then she says, hopefully you guys could be JC and her sidekick. Yes, Jasmine Nix calls Fallon Henley the Robin to JC Jane's Batman. And the way that Fallon Henley looked is so disgusted and the crowd reaction popped. I loved it. And at the end, Jasmine walks off and Fallon's like, did she just call me your sidekick? We're going to get some tension between both of the women. I can't wait to see how that all plays out. And then pretty much we get an interview with Ricky Saints, and Ricky Saints says He wants a rematch against Jasper Troy. Jasper Troy is a brawler, but Ricky Saints is a veteran, and he's ready to deal with Jasper. And after dealing with Jasper, he's going to go for the NXT title. I loved it. So I want to see how that goes. And it's announced 2 weeks in Philadelphia. We're going to get Jasper Troy versus Ricky Saints in a pretty good match, I think. It's not going to be a squash match. I feel like this match is actually going to be a good match. And then before the main event, Zoria is with Soul, and Zoria tells Soul, I have your back. It's a really nice, like, they're hyping each other up. And then Nia and Lash interferes again in a backstage segment. Brawling, security breaks them up, and we will see them again in the main event. But boy, those two girls were fighting all night, and it was entertaining as hell. Then we get the main event, Tatum Paxley versus Ruca for the North American Championship, and both women were so good. We started out with Tatum Paxley moving like a spider, doing her like hold in the corner, holding Soul in between the ropes like a spider. She's doing like submission holds and stuff, like really like spider-ish, like the way she contorts her body, really like Conjuring, very like The Ring, very like innovative and creepy the way she was like moving around, twisting her body, converting it. But so Ruca came back crazier with offense, X Factor. Oh my God! Jumping springboard, but so Tatum does this crazy like chokehold submission. I'm gonna put the photo here, but it looked devastating. Like she had convoluted her body, like she almost like twisted her body in half while choking out Soul. It looked devastating. I'm saying that Tatum Paxley is a star. Like she's that really good, innovative, like creepy wrestler. But back and forth chaos on the top rope. Tatum hits a neck breaker that got everyone screaming. But then out of nowhere, Lash and Nia comes in, bumps into Zoria. So Zoria kind of brawls with them for a bit. Lash and Nia goes through the barricade. And the whole time, Izzy is trying to give Tatum the doll. But Sean is like talking to Izzy. They're kind of having confrontations. Izzy is about to use the doll. But then out of nowhere, Soul hits a Soul Snatcher out of nowhere for the win. Really good match. And Tatum, I feel like, got robbed, but I think that's going to be a part of the storyline. Because lately, Izzy is not happy that Tatum is getting a push. And I don't think, like, that's going to be, like, them breaking up, but I think it's kind of like that storyline of my friend is getting more opportunities than me. And how would that play out with Sean and Nico? Like, the Cullen. Like, I don't think the Cullen is going to break up, but it's that interesting dynamic of each one wants the spotlight, who's going to get it. And also, Ava says at the end of the show, too, it's enough. Lash and Nia, if you guys want to fight, you guys can fight 2 weeks in Philadelphia. So yes, we get announced Lash and Nia, and I cannot wait. That's going to be a blowout. So pretty much NXT was stacked. So we have the men's division on fire. The tag team division is really heating up with Dark State in it and Chase U kind of proving their grounds. The women's division is really spicy, especially with the whole Fatal Influence, JC, Jane, Fallon, and Jasmine all taking shots at each other, like kind of rubbing each other the wrong way. And we have a new, I guess, love power couple in Stax and Ariana Grace. And we have Moose, Javon, and Trick all going after Oba, but Oba wants more competition. I cannot wait. I will see you guys soon. I'll be back real soon, actually, because I'm going to be doing my second part of the video talking about TNA, but TNA was good. Like, I see the lineup for this week, and I cannot wait to talk about it. So let's get right into it. Guys, I just finished watching TNA for this week, and boy, was it crazy leading into Emergence. We got the match card revealed, most of the match card. We got Moose trying to kill Trick Williams. We get a really aggressive promo from AJ Francis. We get a return. We get the single debut of Maura Sheree. And the knockouts go into war. And we end the night with Ali and Joe ending in a controversial way. So let's get right into it. So we kick things off with Trick Williams coming out talking about his match next week at Emergence against Moose. He says he's mad at Casey and Aurora for costing him the match, but he's going to deal with Casey later. He's focused on Moose, and he says to Moose have a big head. He have like a giant football head, kind of making fun of Moose, and he says stuff about his family also being people with big heads and stuff. He gets into the family, and then he says he's gonna make Moose family cry because he did the same thing with Mike Santana. So he does bring up Mike Santana, so most likely Mike Santana will see him later down the line. Moose get angry, comes out, and Trick says, "You're gonna say anything?" Moose hits him with the mic. He's about to spear him, but Trick leaves before Moose demolishes him. So next week, it would be Trick and Moose at Insurgence. And we have to see if Trick survives it, because Moose is just mad at Trick, and Trick just took it to a whole new level. Because in wrestling, you never speak about nobody's family. And then backstage, we get the return of Gia Miller. Yes, she's finally back, because Tessa Blanchard busted her head open on those steel steps really gruesomely. And the other interviewer asked Gia, "How do you feel?" And Gia's like, "I feel good to be back. I'm happy that everyone was worried about me." And then she's like, Can I grab the microphone for a second?" The interviewer's like, "Oh, wow, okay." And Gia Miller just switches from happy to angry, looking dead into the camera, saying that if Tessa wants to be the biggest in the company, she can. But if she gets in my face again, I'm gonna hurt her. She's like, "And I'm gonna do the next interview from here." And the other interviewer's like, "Okay." So yes, Tessa, be careful coming back, because Gia Miller wants to whip the hell out of you. And then Gia Miller does an interview with Joe Hendry after calling out Tessa Blanchard. "I told you this show was crazy." And Joe says, "I have a match later against Ali." And Gia announces that's the main event. And Joe says he's gonna defeat Ali and make Ali believe in Joe Hendry. And we're gonna see how that all plays out in the main event. And the main event, messy things happen. Then we get a crazy match versus Steve Macklin and Jake Something. Right away, Something just takes down Macklin. Him and Macklin go back and forth with chops, slaps, punches, and then it leads to an outside brawl, but they both cannot go back in by the count of 10 because they're so focused on fighting, they forget that they both get disqualified for ring count. Macklin's mad, cussing, beating up Jake. Jake is mad, cussing, beating up. And pretty much it's just a big brawl, and it ends with security breaking them up. But we're going to find out later what is the match stipulation, and I'm so happy because those two are going to kill it at Emergence. I can't wait to announce what the match stipulation is. Then we get women's knockout tag team action with Zaya Brookside versus Laney Ling versus the Elegance brand, Heather and Maggie. It was really good. You know how I feel about Lei Ling Ying. She's a breakout. She shows it in this match, doing really good kicks and offensive against Maggie. And then Zaya tags in. They do like a killer elbow drop assist, but it's chaos because Maggie accidentally bumps into Heather, but they use that when the referee's distracted, checking on Heather to take down Lee back in the ring. They beat down Lee, but Lee tags in Brookside, and Brookside cleans house. Back and forth, and Lee wins for her spinning slam. This is really good, and we're going to see them later on in the show as well. Then we get the biggest drama of the night. So we get the first class penthouse, and boy, was it drama. So Casey says he's going to be out due to his leg injury and stuff. And AJ Francis says, "You know what? You're useless, Casey. I brought back Rick Strong." So yes, Rick Strong is back in TNA, the OG first class. And AJ pretty much kicks out Casey. Casey gets mad. Casey crashes out. He says he's been busting his for so many years. And he teamed up with AJ. And how could AJ abandon him? And Francis says, "Well, I always had to carry you because you always get injured, or I always had to carry you." And Casey's like, "I always had to carry you. Why do I always have to fight your own battles?" And then pretty much AJ takes the crutches from Casey and says, "Get out before I beat you up." So Casey leaves. So pretty much Casey Navarro will be out for a while. Hopefully he gets back soon. But when he does, he better whip AJ Francis' butt for treating him like garbage. And I cannot wait. Then we get Maura Shorey's singles debut, because a couple weeks ago she debuted with the Inspiration. This is her singles debut. She kills it. Crisp moves, athletic in the corner, but she wins with an elbow or springboard That was dope. But her finisher now is a standing angel wing clipper that she calls the finish her.
Just got knocked, clapped the hell out.
Future top star of the Knockouts division. I can see it. Her package, the way she's booked, is really good. I'm happy that she's getting this big push. Then we get JC Jane versus Aspa Elegant. It looked like a pretty promising match, but Masha Slamovich interferes. So we get drama. So Fatal Influence jumps, and then Elegance brand jumps, and then Lee and Brookside from earlier jump in, and then the Inspiration jumps in, and then it's a whole TNA knockout locker room brawl, and we're going to see the aftermath, but Santino announces a match that could change the Knockouts tag team division forever. And then Santino Marvello comes out and announces the matches for Insurgents, the matches so far, because I think it's a couple matches not announced yet, because the card seems like some matches are not announced, but it's most likely going to build to that, and I will explain why at the end. So the first match announces Steve Macklin versus Jake Sublet in a no DQ match for the Intercontinental Championship. I cannot wait. Those two are going to kill it. Mike Santana versus Sami Callihan, because Sami Callihan wants to prove himself. And then a Knockouts tag four-way for the championship. So we get the Elegance brand versus the Inspiration versus, oh my God, that's a lot. Fatal Influence versus Lee and Brookside. That's a mouthful. But damn, all these women fighting for the Knockouts championship. We need to see who comes out, because pretty much if Fatal Influence wins, that's going to be kind of crazy. So we have to see how that turns out. And then Santino Marvello calls out the Memeps, and he's like, I'm going to tell the Memeps some news. So the Memeps come out. Santino's like, you're not going to face Hardy's at Emergence. You guys are banned. Like, the stunt you pulled wasn't funny. And Ryan is like, oh my God, how could you? And Santino's kind of being petty and being like, okay, Ryan, you're not suspended, but you can face Hotel Man, while your brother Nick is suspended. So Nick is suspended from TNA for the next week, while Ryan has to go low against Hometown Man. And the Hardys will face the Rascals. Really good, and it kind of just like builds up Emergence. But what I'm going to say now is I feel like we're missing the Leon Slater match. I feel like most likely we're going to get Leon Slater versus Alexander, because they've been booking it. And something to do with Tessa. I think Tessa will be back at Emergence and Gia Miller will be evolved, because I feel like that storyline is about to kick off, and I can't wait to see how that all plays out. Now on to the main event. The main event was Mustafa Ali versus Joe Hendry. It was good. Both men going back and forth with chops, athleticism. Ali holding Joe into a headlock, but Joe does his iconic pop-up powerbomb slam and fall-away slam. But then it gets crazy. Order 4 jumps in. Joe takes them all out. But you know, Tasha Steelz loves being in a drama, so she pulls Joe's leg, making a big show, distracting the referee like she always does. And then Agent Zero comes out of nowhere, demolishing Joe Hendry, and Ali wins with his 450 splash. And I feel like this is built into the match at Emergence. I don't feel like it's going to be the end. And I need to see how this plays out. If Ali and Joe Hendry are going to have a match at Emergence where Joe Hendry called back up to go against Order 4, this storyline is actually really good. And it makes it good because, you know, it doesn't make Joe Hendry kind of lost in the shuffle, because Ali's also wanted to come after the main title. So it's like the main contenders are fighting against each other as well. So this week was crazy. NXT division is stacked. We saw a lot of matches announces for Emergence. And next week it's going to be crazy because we have NXT, we have TNA, and then we have Emergence right after TNA. So next week is going to be a lot of action between both shows. I cannot wait. I can't wait to see what happens. I feel like maybe somebody from NXT will end up in TNA during Emergence, and I feel like somebody after Emergence will show up in NXT. I can kind of see them still kind of going back and forth with some people. And I can't wait to see how it all blows out. Thank you guys so much for watching the videos. I love seeing you guys' comments and your guys' opinions and like prediction for matches, or like how you think it's going to go. Like I really like seeing that in the comments. And it's really cool how, like, you know, we're kind of building this small community, like Neurodiverse Wrestling Obsessed community. Like I love like being able to see the comments, liking, responding back. So this is really fun and I can't wait to do more. This is just the beginning of me reviewing wrestling. I have a lot of stuff planned. I'm not going to get too much into that yet, but big things are coming for the channel. It's work in progress, but when it does, it's going to be a moment and I cannot wait. So I'll see you guys next time. Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day and just stay loving wrestling because boy, isn't it entertaining.